Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I'm Cody. He is Andy. It is the 15th of February, 2024, about 10:35 Central Time.
Happy post-Valentine's Day.
Happy chocolate is half off on darn near any store in the country day.
You gonna go load up? Halloween's right around the corner.
Exactly.
Kind of.
Buy it cheap, give it out free.
Do you think like if like trick-or-treaters would get upset if like you gave them like, you know, those little hearts?
They don't care.
You bought like the hearts after holidays or after Valentine's Day, so it's like they were half off. It's like they don't let you do that like for what do you call it? My kid goes to kindergarten. You're not allowed to have treats in there anymore. I half expected him to come home with like a bunch of those little things. Nope. No treats. Nothing. It's like pencils.
Fatherly advice. I'd pull your kid out of school right now, but it's just me.
Fatherly advice. All right, fair enough. I'll float that one by the missus. We'll see how that one goes. I'll keep everyone on the show posted.
All right. Well, jumping back from the show, we actually have two requests today.
We have Jim Bro, the Chicago Cowboy. Is that what he's called? Jim Bro, the Chicago Cowboy.
Yep, Maybeans. Maybeans was his specific request, and he actually sent it to us and said, I hope Cody is going to tell everyone that we are going to go fill the gap at 1306 and a quarter.
Not just 1306, but 1306 and a quarter. We also have longtime listener, first-time caller, Sailor Moon.
Shout out.
That's a shout out right there to Sailor Moon. We're looking at the spoo. It's going to be a good show. 2 requests. Crushing it.
I'm excited.
Post-Valentine's Day, chocolate's like free at the store. I'm pulling my kid out of school.
Overreaction Thursday.
Overreaction Thursday. So you want to look at this like right around here, right? This is the gap that he's talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I think we got to get out of this downtrend first, don't you think?
I do believe so. I was going to say, I hate to tell Jimbo, but I don't see us filling that gap anytime soon.
It's Jim Bro for starters. Secondly, I would agree. I mean, I think if anything, the next step is to go, what's this guy right here? That low is 11.5, basically.
Yeah.
So I guess what's interesting here in the shorter term is that you had this like small consolidation, and you just kind of like stair-stepped it down ever so gently lower, and then opened lower yesterday, closed lower, and then you open lower again here. And this just looks like it wants to go test 1150. And we just crossed oversold. So it's a little bit of a warning, but it's also like it hasn't gone into oversold and then come back out. Right. And so you can't say that these secondary indicators here, and we're throwing in a new one, by the way. I don't know if anybody saw. We got some this is like Easter type colors, by the way, almost like pastel. This is an ADX. So it's basically like, in a nutshell, I won't get too far into it, but the higher this blue line goes, the more of a defined trend that you have. So ADX is a measure of like trend and the strength of a trend. So trying a couple of new things out here in 2024. But this will tell you that this has got this has got some trend strength to it. We don't have the values of, there we go. Now we're cooking. When you start talking about values like over 0.5, if you look at like here to here, that's a clear, strong trend. So when this starts to kind of roll over, that's when you start to see trends really decelerate. So this is an interesting one. This is commonly used for like trend following systems. This is the ADX. A as in apple, D as in dog, X as in, what's an X word? X-ray? X-Men? You should be we should like next Halloween, X-Men.
Put it on the docket.
All right.
I think it's interesting that you bring up 1150 because if you look at this on a weekly, 1150 was actually support.
Weekly. Hang on.
Going back into 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Okay. I see what you're saying. So, yeah, man. To me, it's there. So there's 1150 right there.
Right.
So let's bump it up against it. And if we go back, I see what you're saying. So it's about where it started to kind of go.
Right.
To me, it's like, it's also, it's like $20 milk, right? It's like around, it's a number it's kind of like it's not $11.82 or something like that. It's $11.50. It's $11. It's an easy number. I don't know. To me, it's just like, that's a number I think is just going to run into support, given all this stuff right here. But really, what we looked at over here.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, man. I hate to say it to Jim Bro, but I think this gap could theoretically, the first step to this is to break out of this downtrend. If you want to talk about filling this gap, you have to show that this trend has ended. I think
And
first.
it has not. I mean, it's not even close to ending thus far.
Correct. The momentum is still negative. We just crossed into oversold territory, so it's a bit of a warning, but really hasn't crossed back into it. And we've seen that fail a few times. The ADX is telling you that the trend is picking back up, which in this case is lower. So this turning back up like this is telling you that we will continue to trend lower if you're going to go by that indicator too. So we're throwing this in the mix. We have some momentum indicators already. We're throwing in trend following because you can make the argument. There's some good books out there that make the argument that trend following is one of the better ways to trade. Turtle Traders, for example, excellent book. I'd recommend it. All right, so sorry to disappoint Jim Bro.
Maybe next time.
Womp womp. But yeah, look for that. Wait and see. Wait and see for Jim Bro. All right, you want to look at cotton? Is that right?
Yes.
This is like yours and Klingon, or you guys like to look at that one a lot, right?
Yeah, we like to look at that.
One of our other longtime listener, first time callers kind of things.
That's right. Cleon and I, we have the same brain waves going on here.
Same brain waves.
But look at this chart.
What do you think? What do you think?
I don't see anything. Yeah, so it was daily. I was actually kind of peeking at it on a weekly.
All right, let's peek at it on a weekly.
I don't know if cotton, like, is it 90 cents a ream of fabric? I apologize. I don't know how this is actually quoted. Or is it 90 cents a pound? Probably that would make more sense, right?
A ring?
A pound in the field, I guess, out of a bale?
I think you should start a futures contract and have it be like a ring of something.
A ring.
You could do it.
Either way, I mean, you broke out above 90 cents. And
maybe start like a utensils contract.
We haven't been there since November of last year.
I mean, bam.
Right?
I mean, that tells a huge story right there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is going back. I mean, this is a while, right? So this encompasses an entire year's worth of trade right here. And now, so it's a weekly, it's Thursday. We still have another, today and tomorrow, obviously, in terms of closes. But if we just stopped right here and closed in the week, this would be a new high close going back to, Labor Day-ish, 2022.
And also, like on mine on the weekly, I have the moving averages. And so we are now just sitting, and it is Thursday, just above the 100-day moving average, or in this case, 100-week moving average.
Right. Those are based on like the period in which you're looking at the chart.
Right.
So, I mean, that's another sign there, right? And if you think about it too, like this area right here, when we broke through it, you tried to get through it here, it became major support right here, right? And then when we finally got through it here, it has been resistance 1. I think you can argue this is resistance again 2. It's a major, it's a big price point for the contract itself, right? Again, very supportive here. Once it broke through there, it's been acting as resistance. So you got to think that if we can get a close through there, and let's say an open higher next week, this thing could really go. I mean, this could get wicked, right? And cotton has shown us before that. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, look at those moves.
Look at these moves. I mean, it's not out. This is certainly not outside the realm of possibility that you get 2 weeks like this, where this is a massive move. I mean, it's a big contract too.
Yeah.
So I think you got to be super careful of close into new highs going back for a full calendar year, and then an open higher the next week. Leave all this behind. Anybody that was selling in any of this stuff is now underwater.
Correct.
It's a huge psychological impact right there. And you just start to go. So I don't know. I guess you got to get your t-shirts bought. T-shirts and everything else that has cotton in it.
Everything.
All the fabrics. Although you probably have like super fancy like sheets, right? Or like Egyptian cotton, like all that kind of stuff. Like,
no.
Doesn't have a fork. He's got like Egyptian cotton, like 1,000 count thread or whatever it is. Just like the softest of the softest pillows, and who knows what's going on over there.
As cheap as we can possibly go.
All right, next up. So talk of the town here recently, spot cheese.
Yeah.
We've showcased this one a few times, and it's just, it's so choppy here lately. This has just been such a tough trade. I mean, you think about yesterday, right? I mean, we kind of felt like cheese was starting to get some momentum to the upside. You had this breakout from this long-term downtrend, gapped higher out of it, right? And is maintaining that breakout still, even though we've been lower the last 2 weeks. Still have the rest of the week. But like, it's just been, we blocked down 7 yesterday, and now it's well discounted to the barrel, which is pretty rare. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, I think, to me, I feel like this higher low is going to maintain. And if we have this kind of head fake here and then go back up, I guess that wouldn't surprise me. But I think at the very least, this is going to maintain itself right here, meaning like we are going to continue to put in higher lows. I think that's something to be really mindful of. And keep in mind, futures are premium out forward, right?
There.
So futures are telling us we're more like, going to be in this area up here. So I don't know. What do you think?
I tend to disagree with you on this, and I think we talked about it a little bit. I don't think that gap at $1.38 had ever truly been filled.
So which one are you talking about? Right here?
Going back right into July. Yeah, just a little bit higher than that. Left. Right there.
Okay.
I don't think that was truly filled. I really don't. I know we talked about it when we got close to being down there, and some people are saying, well, it tried, it tested it, and then we kind of bounced back out of it. I think we are going to be in for another trip down to $1.40, $1.38. I really do.
I mean, you want to talk about getting a launch button into the $2 area. I mean, that would certainly help, right? If that's what you're looking for longer term.
Exactly.
Hey, at least one of us will be, right? Huh? I mean,
it's true.
I hear what you're saying. It's been, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like it's been somewhat kind of disappointing because this, after breaking out, having this gap, I mean, if you're just looking at it on this chart, it's like, oh man, this thing's getting ready to go. And it's just been, but nope, never mind. So you're thinking we go back.
Well, and also the RSI, I mean, we've touched kind of oversold there a little bit on the green line, but have we ever really gone
through
below?
It?
Yeah, exactly.
Just a touch right there back in June.
When we rallied. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying for sure. Again, hey, we can have a difference of opinion. That's okay. Right. That's okay. That's good.
What somebody said yesterday, that's what makes a market.
That's what makes a market. There you go. It's excellent. Very poignant right there. All right. Now, okay, I'll ask you this question. Do you think we go past, so you think we're going to go beyond this low again? This would be, let's pull this out real fast. Hang on. So that's 30, call it 139, basically. So you think we're going to be a 139 offer, basically, within the next month?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd say next 2 to 3 weeks. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And then to your point, if you're looking bullish farther out, I mean, that's only going to strengthen your opinion on that side.
That will certainly add fuel to the fire, for sure. For me, I'm more of the opinion, the lows, we're going to continue to see this type of activity. And maybe we come back down into like here or something, but just like a continued stair step until we start to build into an uptrend. And keep an eye on this ADX down here, this blue line. I think that starts to build some momentum going this way, which, don't get me wrong, like, just to be clear too, this can go up into a market that's trending lower. If you remember in beans, for example, we just looked at, sorry, Jim Bro, to go back to twist the knife on you a little bit, but this going up indicates a strong trend.
Yes.
So that, again, I think what you're going to start to see is higher lows, and this start to actually turn up as the market starts trending well in the higher. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
My opinion. So we'll see. But we do have one more on the docket for today. Uno Mas from Sailor Moon, crushing it.
A new call out too.
A new call out. Long-time listener, first-time call out. S&P.
I think last time you and I talked about this, actually, we were kind of talking about this trend, right? Where you're up for 5-7 days in a row, and then you drop pretty hard the next day, and then you kind of you engulf what had happened the previous day on the way up.
I guess the thing that bugs me about this chart is you've got some of these secondary indicators that are just not, or you keep bumping up against oversold, coming back into it. Like the ADX down here. Like, look at this. Failure to put in a new high. That to me is a warning sign that the trend is losing strength, which in this case, the trend is higher, right? And so this doing that, and let's say it starts to dip back to low like 0.2, would indicate like a consolidation. And if we started to see this consolidate, I would argue that that's probably the trend ending for a little while, right? And we're going to roll over and maybe retrace some of the stuff. And like also look at it and say too, like you have these wicked down days, right? They've been recouped, right? Don't get me wrong, the trend continues, but it seems like the market's just kind of on edge, right? It takes a few days to recoup a down day most of the time, 1-2 here, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like you've had this big move. We're starting to see some of the secondary stuff kind of shake give it a little shaky ground, if you will. And this trend is not very strong here. If you're looking at the ADX, it's telling you that the momentum here is starting to wane a little bit.
So then does 5,000 become a point where we just kind of bounce around for a little bit then?
Could be. I mean, I think what you could I guess the concern here would be, to your point, we looked at like 11.50 beans, or it's like $20 milk. Like you get to a number like 5,000. Let's say you get a close below that, right? So let's say you break through. You have this long-term trend, right?
Yep.
And let's say that gets broken, and then you get a close below 5,000. That's where I think you could get a wicked couple of down days.
Okay.
And all of a sudden it's like, yikes, this guy turns negative, and you get the RSI that starts to cross over the midpoint, which would be, which would lead to further selling. You start to get some of like the bigger technical indicators that lead to almost like bandwagon selling too. You see some of that in some of these bigger markets where it's like the 100-day moving average or 200-day moving average gets violated. A lot of people are looking at that. That can make a difference. So yeah, a lot of warning signs coming out of here. So I don't know what Sailor Moon's doing here in the SPOO, but she might want to be thinking about maybe she's getting short. Who knows? I don't know. We'll have to ask. We'll have to have her on the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Talk about moons, and I guess we only have one moon, right?
Yeah, so far.
You know what? I think you should try and be an astronaut someday.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Wouldn't that be cool? You just get shot into outer space. I mean, it's not that far of a trip. I mean, when you think about it, it's like outer space isn't technically that far away. Like a mile spaces, right?
Sure.
Why not? Let's get you the dude from InSync or something like that go to the moon. Like that. Why can't you?
Why can't you? That's a good question.
Maybe if we get to 10,000 subscribers, we'll call NASA. We got your latest.
We're over 1,000 now. We just need everybody else's help to get to 10,000 so we can get this pizza party. And if I'm not mistaken, on the call the other day, Phil said he might throw in a little something extra for us.
Might throw in a little something extra there for you.
Folks, if you would please help us get to 10,000 subscribers by Dec 30th of this year, we would be eternally grateful for that. We're looking forward to it, working very hard. All the shows that Paige and her team puts out with excellent content. If you would just go hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. We love comments. But still trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I know we're going to do it. But anyway, with that, it's going to do it for Andy and I on another episode of Tech Talk.
The editorial.
We'll see you next week.
The editorial way. The royal we.
The royal we.
It's the royal we. The editorial.